This from the New York Post. J.D. Vance rips ABC's Martha Raddatz as she tries to downplay Venezuelan gang takeover in Colorado. Do you hear yourself? I can't believe this. Listen to this.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border? Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be.
This is insane.
Yeah.
Let's listen to Martha Raddatz's voice. Okay, that's her name, right? Raddatz. Listen to how she talks.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns.
Why does she hate so much? This is what I don't understand, and I'm sorry, I am just pissed off. What about these psychotic cultists need to defend every effing thing, no matter what it is? Can't for once in your life you just be like, you know, JD, it is true. I mean, these migrant takeovers of apartments are really, really bad. I don't know if that means in the bigger picture that Donald Trump is the right answer to solve the problem, blah, blah, blah. No, she comes out and says, no, I'm going to stop you. They said it was only a handful. Why? Why the indignation? Just shut up. For once, just say, okay, we as reasonable people think it is shocking that Venezuelan gangs took over apartments in the United States. You know what, man? I have this question, and I remember Daryl Davis. He's amazing. If you don't know who he is, he's a black blues musician. One day he said he was thinking about the Klan and these white supremacists. He says, how could somebody hate me if they don't know me? So he went to a Klan rally. And he started talking to people, and they said a bunch of mean things to him, but they didn't attack him or anything. And then he ended up making friends with these guys, and many of them actually quit and turned in their robes and said, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. Because he said, how can they hate me if they don't know me? This is what I see when I see Martha Raddatz. Just, you can hear the indignation, the hatred she has for Vance in her voice.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Why? I don't get it. I can sit down with someone and they'll say Donald Trump is a racist, and I'll go, okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. We'll elaborate. What do you think? Like, I don't get mad about it. I say simply explain to me your thoughts and opinions. Why is a journalist, a corporate press journalist, so angry? And you know what? I'm sorry. I got to do an extended rant on this one because I've got this from NPR. September 6th, 2024, Aurora police chief says there's no evidence that Venezuelan gang took over apartment. Here's the New York Times, September 15th, how the false story of a gang takeover in Colorado reached Trump. They claimed it was a lie. That's why they're mad, because it happened. It's been going on for a long time. It is shocking to the conscience of any good American, and the media lied, and they got caught, and they got caught by people like us and J.D. Vance, and that's why she's pissed off. Now she's saying only a handful. Great. First it was none. It's not happening. Now it's a handful. What's next? Well, actually, they took it over a year ago, and that's apparently part of the reports as well. There are reports from over a year ago that these gangs were operating here. And they've lied about it all. So I'm just sick of these people being so angry and full of hatred for seemingly no reason. To defend something like this is unconscionable.
It is weird that she's like so obviously completely not empathetic to the people who are affected by this. She's like, it's a handful of apartment complexes somewhere I don't care. She refers to them as like a handful of incidents, like it's like a handful of littering incidents, or like it's a handful of parking tickets. Why do you care so much? No, it's foreign gangs taking over a place where people live. Like, and that's crazy.
They said they were shaking them down for the rent, like the tenants. But that's a New York Post online story. Did you see the cover of the New York Post today in New York?
What's that one? They're doing it in New York?
About Times Square, that the Venezuelan gangs have taken over Times Square. And I have friends.
Are they going to run the New Year celebration this year?
We'll see, but I have friends that are in the NYPD, and they're like, these guys commit crimes, and we have to let them go with a desk appearance ticket, and then they bail. They don't show up.
This is how you end up with a society that says it's okay to unleash the jackbooted police on on criminals. If you want to have a society that treats people that are breaking the law badly, allow this for a little while. And then people get fed up with it and they say, give them the boot. Bring the boot down on them. They say, make our streets safe. You cannot allow this stuff to continue, go on, and expect the population to continue to accept it. They're going to say, bring the boot down, and that boot comes down on everybody.
They hate you.
They absolutely do.
These corporate press, these Democrats, these liberals, they hate you. And I will explain. The truth shall set you free. And I'm not saying that of me. I'm saying that is the reality that they are trying to avoid. That's why they don't let you know the truth. This woman, it starts with the corporate press saying it's not happening at all. Then when it's irrefutable, they say, so what? It's only a few.
Right.
They hate you so much, they don't care if you're right. They don't care if it's proven that they're wrong. You must be stopped for no reason other than they hate you.
If this were happening to her friends or to an apartment complex that her family lived in or something, she would be up in arms. But because she doesn't know the people and they're probably poor, it's fine. It's just a couple and it doesn't matter.
Well, they're revisiting the whole, I just saw a report, they're revisiting that whole California, if you don't steal over $1,000. Now they're saying, because all these small stores are getting put out of business by it. These people are going in there and just looting the store, and now they're getting ready to pass another law to say, hey, we're going to make looting a crime again, like.
I'll tell you, I grew up in a liberal area, and I remember being a teenager and hearing all the stuff about pro-choice and all that. And then I met someone, I was living in the suburbs, and I was, hanging out at the local college, and I was meeting a bunch of people, and I had a friend of a friend, and I was hanging at her house, and her family were conservative Republican Christians, and I don't care. Didn't mean anything to me. And parents were talking about abortion, and I just said, sure, tell me what you think. I said, oh, wow, I didn't realize you felt that way. Interesting. It was that easy for me. I don't know. That was how I grew up. And I feel like there's so many people right now, like this woman, they don't care if you're right or if you're wrong. You're on the wrong team. You're on the wrong side of history. It doesn't matter what's true. It doesn't matter what will make this country function better or not. What matters is you are defying them, and you will not crawl back under their boot. Yeah. That's why Martha Raddatz is visibly agitated and angry with J.D. Vance. She's been proven wrong already. The issue is plainly visible to the average reasonable person who's trying to figure out what's going on. And they're angry that no matter what they do, they keep getting exposed as liars. And they can't defeat the people they hate.
And to Phil's point, if the concern is an increasing tolerance for authoritarian policing, then the Democrats are now in a position where they can say, oh, well, we're going to be tough on crime. But what they're saying is we're going to be tough on crime for Americans who are legally in this country already, because we are going to try to maintain the duality of we are compassionate to people who are here illegally. All illegal immigrants are here because of some, very sympathetic, asylum seeker type reason, when the reality is that is probably not the majority of people who enter the country. And it's definitely not the policies that police officers have to enforce right now in places like Aurora.
And even if you have a situation where the police are empowered to arrest people, you're going to have the DAs that aren't prosecuting or judges that let people go. This is a bit of a sidetrack, but there was a story about two joyriders, I believe it was in Vegas, that hit a guy and killed him. Mm-hmm. And it was clearly they intended to do it. They targeted him. Yeah, he was a sheriff. Yeah. He was on his bike.
Retired cop.
Oh, yeah.
And two guys were in, and I believe it was a stolen car. They hit him, killed him, and they
ran him down intentionally.
Yeah, intentionally. They were talking about it. Yeah. And the driver was just recently let off.
The car. Yep. They had
and
they put it on their cell phone.
Yep. Just recently, the judge said that he was not fit to stand trial. 2 or 3 doctors talked to him. 2 of them said that he was fit to stand trial, and the judge still said the driver's not fit to stand trial. They won't prosecute people that have committed crimes.
When people say, when I hear these Christians say like demons are taking over, I'm like, I'm inclined to believe it. Yeah. When I see this stuff, I'm just like, I don't understand how a thinking human being lets someone like that go.
Right.
I just don't get it. demons. There you go.
I mean, I'm 62. I grew up on the streets of New York in the 70s when it was crazy violence. I mean, I got locked up. I did 2 years. Like, what's happening now there, and the reason I got out of there is because New York's a trash can fire where the criminals are just, they have all the rights. And, I mean, even back in the day, people had the common sense, like, hey, you know, and just one example, if you got caught with an illegal gun back in the day, even 10 years ago, it was an automatic bullet, meaning you got a year in Rikers Island.
Yep.
And then you got a year for every bullet in that gun, right? Now you could hold up a store, pistol whip somebody with a loaded pistol, and you get a desk appearance ticket because Bragg, this guy who's the DA,
Alvin Bragg, yeah.
and you know, it's incredible what he's done to the city. And like the Marine that choked that dude out on the subway that was attacking everybody.
He goes to jail.
I'm like, and what that's doing is saying, like, I mean, I grew up, you know, Bernard Goetz went on the subway and did what he did. And people just got sick of it. And then I really feel it's going to, you know, it's going to cause people to start taking the law into their own hands in a certain way, because if the police are not protecting you, and my friends who are cops are so frustrated because they're like, look, we lock these guys up. We do. My friend was the head of the gun confiscation task force in the 7-5 in Brooklyn, and he's like, we lock these guys up, and these DAs and these judges and these prosecutors, they give them a slap on the wrist and they're right back out on the street.
It's discord between the citizens and the police, but it's the police and the judicial system. Because
Right.
I'm sure there are police who look at some of these
Right.
cases and say, like, these two joyriding guys, whoever arrested them is probably like, this is important. These are people who should not be on the street. And then it gets turned over to a judge who is like, I have my own opinions on this. I'm going to treat it
Well, I'll
completely
tell
different.
you, a lot of the, you know, the liberal policies, especially in New York City, right? So they did away with the task force. And I get it, because some of those guys came from Long Island. They didn't have any clue how to interact with people that lived in the inner city in Brooklyn. And they were, you know, throwing guys up against the wall that were coming off work just because they were African American, you know, and like that. But when you do away with the whole thing just because of a couple of bad apples, right? But guess who wants those task forces to come back? The people that live in the Marcy projects, the poor black and brown people that are being the victims of all this gun violence now that's happening in the city.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.